Good evening friends and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my face. Okay, so this video is going to be a review about Soul, the movie. It came out, I think, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, maybe, on Disney Plus. So if you don't have Disney Plus, then I don't know what to say, sorry. But yeah, it came out then. It is a cute movie, but basically this video I'm going to talk about it, my thoughts, controversies, all of those kind of things. But before I begin, Happy New Year, friends. It's been tough. I've got a lot of ideas for this video. I have a lot of ideas for the channel. Loads of things I want to do, loads of new things. I'm only this side because, like, on my bed, because my desk is really untidy right now, but we'll be back soon. But anyway, let's get into this review of Soul.
Every time I take a draw, that's a mind out. Done it all time, play with since lights out. I'm just trying to make
acting direction. I hope you guys liked my new intro. So the film follows, oh my god, what's even the character's name? Do you know what? I always do this. I don't go and find out these informations when I really should. This film follows Joe, a high school jazz tutor, who is kind of in the middle of like a midlife crisis. Like he's an aspiring kind of artist, and his career is kind of taking its time to get to where it needs to be, but you know, he's in love with jazz music. I must say that the way this, I'm going to talk about it later, but the way this is animated is so good. And I must admit that from the get-go, you see his passion in jazz. And anyway, as the story unfolds, you get to see how his passion for jazz kind of builds upon the actual story and jazz music in itself, how that influences the story. But anyway, so yeah, jazz high school teacher. He is teaching like a class that's just not really interested in music like that, apart from one girl. And so we see him kind of just being a high school teacher because it's the easiest thing, it pays, and he can still be somewhat creative. However, he manages to audition with a band. I didn't write the name of the band down, so you'd have to find out yourself. But he auditions for a band, and that band, he then gets a gig with this big band to, you know, be a part of their show. Before he can do that big gig, he dies. He falls down a manhole and dies. Well, this is the thing that confuses me. I don't know whether he's actually dead or whether he's just in a coma or what happens to him, but something happens to him in the terms that he's fallen down a manhole and his life is on the brink of life or death kind of thing. And he ends up in the about to go into the afterlife, but he runs backwards and ends up in the before life, I guess. He ends up in where babies are. Now those little blue things, the one that 23 is. Hi friends, editing me here. I am well aware that I keep calling 22 23, and I'm so sorry about that. But I don't know, for some reason I just forgot. Like, it really just escaped my mind. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I absolutely love them. They are the cutest thing. I would like one as a pet. He ends up with these little blue things, you know, trying to enter life and get back to his life, basically. Whereas, like, this is like the kind of place where babies come from, in a way, where babies form their personalities before being sent into the world. I really like how this was portrayed. I can't lie, but again, I'll get down to that in my final thoughts. But anyway, so we see him enter this place, and he agrees to become a mentor for the young bucks coming up, in order for him to not basically go into the afterlife and not die for real, which is kind of cute. I mean nobody wants to die really, so yeah, that's basically the premise of the film. He gets paired up with this blue blob, with this before baby, embryo, zygote, I don't know what you want to call it, but this spirit, this soul, roll credits. Yeah, he gets paired up with this one called 23. Now, these aren't any beings yet, they don't have a gender, so 23. We'll just call them. Is voiced by a middle-aged white woman. I haven't looked up the actors either. Again, if you want to know, find out, look it up. So Joe is now mentoring 23, and through their misadventures and whatever, he finds out the true meaning of life and, you know, appreciation for life itself and so on and so forth. But again, I don't want to go too in depth because I don't want to spoil it. And if you want to watch the film, have a watch of the film. My thoughts on Soul. First of all, as I mentioned a bit earlier, I really enjoyed the animation of this film. Now, I hadn't seen any trailers about it. I hadn't known the film was even a thing. And when I did eventually see the trailer and I saw the title and things, I thought it was going to be about soul music. I thought it was going to, like, kind of be like a Princess and the Princess and the Frog kind of thing, like looking at soul and R&B and things like that. But for it to be jazz was really interesting. Was a really interesting take, because for me, jazz, you know, jazz is random and jazz is very much like here and there and everywhere, and it's like doing a lot. And for it to be a focus on jazz, it literally, the misadventures is a representation of jazz music, you know, that life is random and it teaches you new things, and it constantly gives you different things. And the fact that he literally dies in a manhole is literally jazz. So it's really nice how jazz is kind of like a common theme throughout the whole film in many different aspects. Like I said, back to the animation now, they had some very clear characters, from his barber to him, Joe himself, to his mother and his aunties and things like that. And even down to, somebody took a snapshot, I'm going to try and find the tweet, a snapshot of a tin, a biscuit tin that had the sewing materials in it, because his mum was a tailor, and the sewing materials in the biscuit tin is so common to like black families and black culture, and I'm pretty sure other non-white cultures as well. But I really empathized with that, and it was just those little things that kind of were picked out of the film that really made it well designed. One thing that I always notice in the animations of black characters is hair. And I really find that the way they portrayed the hair, the way they portrayed the hair, even down to like the shape up, like, you know, the whole process of going to the barbers, and the fact that, you know, again, I don't want to talk too much, but they were on their way to a big thing, you know, it was a big thing he was preparing for, and one of the things he went to go and do is get a shape up. And to me, like, that's literally black men to the core. To, you know, you're going for a big thing, you wanna get shape up and stuff. So I really enjoyed how that was portrayed in the film and how the animators went about it, because we don't see that a lot. Another thing that I really appreciated about this is that on Disney Plus, like, they have many different categories, like musicals or, you know, through the decades or whatever. And this comes under Black Stories. Now, they have like a whole range of Black Stories, you know, documentaries on Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. They've got other section like Black is King, Lion King. They've got like all these different things underneath this section on Disney Plus. So Soul is basically around a black character, a black man. And, you know, I've seen some controversies about the fact that 23 was voiced by a white woman. I mean, they make a joke in it and say, and he's like, oh, you can have, Joe is like, oh, you can have any voice. And then 23 is like, yeah, but I've decided to choose a middle-aged white woman because that's the one that really annoys people. And it's like, yeah, okay. But I know a lot of people had said that it would have been better or it would have been nicer if it was a black male teenager, or a black female teenager, and that had they done that, it would have kind of been even more inspiring to young black people that are watching it, and they would have felt like, oh, you know, that is my story. I would love to have a mentor that is black, that is a black man, and, you know, teaching and stuff like that. And I think I agree to a certain extent. Like, I agree that having a black tutor, like having made it a black teenager, we would have got an even more in-depth story. But I do appreciate what they did there by making them kind of like by making it a white woman. But I suppose the only thing for me is that it was just the one joke. Like, we could have gone without it. It would have been, you know, it wouldn't have done much for the show, you know. But yeah, I appreciate that it is a black story being told, and that we are seeing it, a creative, literally a creative just trying to make life and having to make big decisions. And, you know, especially for creatives, you often have to ask yourself, am I going to do the job that is going to pay me, or am I going to do the job that I'm going to be creative in? I'm going to do what I want to do, even if that means that I'm not going to get paid as much or whatever. And taking that step is quite difficult. And sometimes I find that creatives don't actually have the time to just sit and just think about life and look at, there's a scene where there's a sycamore tree, and the seed from the sycamore tree drops down on his lap, and, you know, it's just that moment of like life. And 23 is like, yeah, this is life, this is what life is about. And the whole thing is about finding your purpose. It's like your fifth element to you, and it's that what makes you special, almost what makes you unique, what gives you life. And Joe is under the impression that that's jazz music, but there's many other things, and it might be for him, but there's many other things in life that make you you, and that you fight for, and that you live for on a daily basis. And to see that portrayed through the lens of a black man, or through a creative, for me personally, I don't take enough time to sit and think, oh, well, hell, like, what do I actually like about the world? What do I live for? What do I enjoy in the world? And I really appreciate the way they portrayed that. Another controversy that was explained is that they felt that because 23, again, I don't want to spoil too much, but basically 23 ends up in Joe's body. Hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler, but whatever. Yeah, so they end up in Joe's body, and so Joe ends up being voiced by a white woman for majority of the film. And a lot of people had explained that it gave them Princess and the Frog vibes. It's like, why do black people always end up as an inanimate or animals or creatures in films? And Joe, while 23 is in Joe's body, Joe is in the body of a cat. So again, I understand that controversy, but I think the greater picture kind of makes me feel like, it is what it is. Like, the story itself is really nice, and I think I can deal with that. However, like, animators and like just studios, I'm not even gonna say animators, studios need to just stop with this storyline now. Just give us proper black characters that aren't fucking animals or creatures for like majority of the film, please. Like, I'm tired. But in this film, like, it is what it is kind of thing, and the animation of the black characters is so strong that you're just like, it doesn't matter anyway who's voicing those people, because those black characters look phenomenal. One thing I will say that I really thoroughly enjoyed was the way they portrayed going into like a dark hole, how it touched on themes of depression and anxiety and stuff. And you know what's really interesting to me is that this is a kids film, and it deals with very heavy topics, and as an adult I can relate to it a lot more than I feel like the kids could. Like, the kids were very much like invested in different aspects of it, but I feel like as an adult it really touches on a lot of things that is really important in adult life, you know, like knowing about life, like what you want to do in life, and thinking about, you know, your future and what makes you happy and things like that. And I think it's conversations we should have with kids growing up, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on children to know what they want to do, to know what they want to study, or know if they want to work, or all of these kind of things. And I feel like it's not very fair. Gosh, see, that's so much better. In case, you know, you're wondering why this suddenly looks brighter, it's because I switched my light on. I think it's important conversations that we should have with children, that, you know, we should be talking to them about what they want to do in life, and explain to them that you can change it. Like, you don't have, there's more things important in life than your career, and your career does not define you, and, you know, things like that. Like, that's not the most important thing you need to worry about in life. And I really do think that that's something that we should teach kids anyway. There was a section when they talk about going into that hole, but then becoming a lost soul, and it's like you're just doing the same task over and over again. And there's these moments, I forgot what they called them, but there's these moments when you're in the zone, like when you're in the zone and you're just melted and you're just completely at peace with what you're doing. But those same people who are in the zone could end up becoming a lost soul, because it consumes them, their whole being. And, you know, it does gently touch on Joe's relationship with his mum, and how his career and his push for music has kind of affected his romantic relationships, his family relationships, his platonic relationships, you know, even the relationship with the barber and stuff like that. So it's really interesting how our careers and our push for our careers and our passions to be at the forefront of our life can actually affect other aspects of our life as well. So I really, really appreciate how they touched on that too. Overall, I would say that I really did like the film. I would recommend that families do watch it and discuss it. I think there's certain things about kids' films that I enjoy, and I like to watch it with children so I can talk with them. You know, I watched it with my little cousins, I'd watched it with my mum and stuff, and it's having that discussion about passions, about love, about work, and having serious conversations with your family and your partners, even opening that kind of conversation of real things, you know, about why are we here, why do we exist, like what is life, and what does life mean, what makes me me, what do you love about me, what do you hate about me, what do I love about myself, and what do I hate about myself, and actively having that conversation with yourself. And I feel like Soul is a good gateway into those kind of conversations with children, with family members, again with your partner. And I feel like watching it with children in particular was really interesting, because they picked out on things that I didn't pick out on, because I'm too busy looking at the deeper meaning of everything, and they're just like, oh my god, like the cat's so funny. Do you know what I mean? And even like the crazy guy that kind of works between realms, again you'll see it, but learning about him, thinking about him being like almost like a medium or a medium or a clairvoyant. It's really interesting to like think about people like that who dip between those two worlds, who dip between the spiritual soul world and then the real reality world and things like that. And even his job of being the guy who twists the signs, is really interesting to have how his status in the real world versus his status in the spiritual world, and how like those kind of work together. So I really did appreciate it. I really did love the film. I would recommend you all watch it. I would recommend you all discuss it. And yeah, it's a good vibe. I'm gonna end this video here. Please like this video if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button to get loads more content, because I'm going to be releasing like a crazy woman. I will be open to review other films and stuff like that. So let me know if you've watched anything on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus, and I will get onto that. So leave your own thoughts and your feelings in the comments below, and I'll read them. And if you have any other things you want me to review, let me know. But yeah, guys, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
Oh wow, they be talking like the hella fly. Oh my, always making us some porky pies.